Hello, I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to come and talk about graduation ceremonies. I've seen so many videos, but I want to come from a different perspective. I'm sure, unless you've been under a rock, and I'm sure maybe personally you've attended graduations as I have during the course of my life and also recently. So I wanted to share some takeaways that I think it's worth discussing. Again, there are enough videos about the twerking, the fighting, the dancing, the disruptions, the people being hauled out on their ears, and just all of this disruptive behavior. I don't want to focus on that today because there are enough videos out there. You can just type in a social media search engine, graduation chaos. But I want to come, and again, before I get into my commentary, again, everything we say is for education and training purposes only. Again, my opinion without judgment. Congratulations to all the graduates. I don't know any of you, but I'm super excited for you, for your future as an educator. Some nuggets of wisdom that I give my students, always be a student of life. Always be willing to learn, be open to learning new things every single day. Get out of your comfort zone. If you're going off to college, communicate with your professors. They are your biggest advocates. And I know sometimes that can be intimidating, but your professors are there to help you. Your teachers are there to help you if you're going from middle school to high school. Communicate, communicate, communicate. I can't stress that enough because they understand that life happens. They understand that you may not be able to get that assignment due on time. They understand that you may have a family emergency. You may not be able to take the exam. Instructors, professors, teachers, whomever is in charge of your grades, understand because they too have been students. Always remember that. They too have been students. They have asked for grace many times from their instructors, professors, teachers, whomever, facilitators. So don't be afraid. I know, again, it's intimidating, but don't be afraid to communicate. Even if you're afraid to do it face-to-face, send an email, send a text message if your teacher allows that. Some schools are very strict on that type of thing because it gets a lot of people in trouble. So again, be mindful of everything that you do. Some things will come back to haunt you. Some things you can't undo. So just, take this time in your life. You're going into a different chapter of your life. Your life is a book, and we all have a book, and the book tells a story. It tells the beginning, the middle, and the end. And in that middle, there's several chapters. We all have experienced those various chapters of our lives, some really great, exciting chapters, some not so good chapters, but we all have a story. I have a very good friend that says, "You don't know my story." And that's very true. No one knows your story better than you know your story. And you get to write your story. There are external forces that will affect your story, but you get to write your story. And so I just wanted to say that congratulations. This is a wonderful time to have the opportunity to walk across that stage. I've done that 3 times. That's the most exhilarating feeling in the world, that you've worked really hard, that you've made the sacrifices, you've up all night, you had to pay a lot of money for, whatever, especially at the college level or master's level, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of things you could not partake in because you had to go to the library, you had to study, you had to go online, you had to go to a study group. You do a lot of that in graduate work, and that's why a lot of people don't like that master's program in many cases, because it's based on group work, a lot of it. And as we know, anytime you work with a group, even as a team in a corporation, there are always going to be 1 or 2 people that don't pull their weight but want to get the same credit as everyone else that did the heavy labor. So be prepared for that. Again, communicate with your professor if you're in a team and you have people that, and you don't have to make a big deal about it. Just communicate privately and don't let them know that you told them, because they're going to come at your head. So that's something that I would say. But the graduation ceremonies, I wanted to focus on 3 parts of the ceremony. Again, there are videos about the ratchetness, but and also some suggestions. And again, it's just my opinion from my experiences, having gone to a lot of graduations, as a student graduating, and said I've gone to 3, also as a professor watching my students graduate, also as family members, friends, watching people that I know and I love graduate. 3 things that I noticed. I went to several graduations recently in this current graduation season, and I noticed something, and I wanted to bring this to my audience and get feedback. Again, not to judge, but to provide knowledge. What I noticed, and everyone knows this, whenever you go to a graduation ceremony, there are three parts of the ceremony that are usually at the beginning. After the introductions, after usually the principal or the president of the university, if it's a college, usually after, if it's high school, it's a principal, or even middle school, it's a principal of the school. They will, welcome the family, they congratulate the graduates, and they give, probably 5 or 10 seconds for you to congratulate, yeah, and as they, because, the processional, all the staff, the professors, the teachers walk in, and then the students walk in. Everyone's trying to let their family member know, I'm sitting over here, look this way so I can take a picture. That's great, that's great. They don't take a lot of time doing that, but that's an opportunity for you to yell, scream, call out the person's name. We move into the next phase of the ceremony. Again, this is just for education and training purposes only. Some people may know this and they may say, why am I talking about this? But I noticed recently, I went to several graduations, and this was something that really was kind of surprising and shocking to me, that a lot of people don't know this. So after you get through that, congratulations everyone, the students have walked in, the teachers have walked in, professors, whomever, staff, they always have dignitaries, school board members, past presidents, whomever. Then we have the color guard. The color guard are usually junior ROTC students if it's high school. They have their flags. They have on the uniform, it could be Army, Navy, Air Force. They look amazing. I went to several recently. They're junior ROTC. If it's at the college level, they were in ROTC at the college level, getting ready to do their service in the whatever respective military branch of service. So these three things always go together: color guard, national anthem, and Pledge of Allegiance. And the reason I'm talking about this is because during any ceremony, any graduation, that is a solemn time of that ceremony. Solemn meaning no yelling, screaming, hollering out names, because you already had the opportunity to do that. As I mentioned, when you walked in initially, the president or the principal gave you an opportunity to cheer the graduates. They always do that because they know people want that to happen. So they take a few minutes at the beginning to do that. But once you move into the color guard, national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance, everyone should be silent. That is a solemn time of that ceremony. What my analogy for that is, when you go to church, there's a welcome address, and then there's prayer. When whoever, the preacher or the deacon or whomever is up praying, everyone, they always say, bow your head and be silent. That is the same thing in a graduation ceremony. You should be silent. You should not be screaming. You should not be yelling. You should not be whistling. You should not be doing anything during those three parts of the ceremony. And it's a very quick process. It takes more than 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, because they're on a time schedule. So just keep that in mind. It's not a long, drawn-out thing. Just show respect, because what you're doing, if you don't know this, when you are silent, you're giving respect to those service members. I have 2 brothers that served in the military, Air Force, Army, and I have tons of family members that are currently serving or have served in the military. You're honoring those that gave their life, those that are currently serving, those veterans, those who are serving, so that we can be free. And that's why it's a solemn part of the service, so that you can just reflect. And then the Pledge of Allegiance. I know for religious reasons, a lot of people don't, specifically Jehovah's Witness, because when I was in high school, I had friends, and they never, when we were in class, that was a part of, when I was growing up, you had to do that every morning. They didn't do it, but they stood there silently. They didn't make a big deal, they didn't talk, but that is a solemn part of a graduation ceremony. Stand there, be silent. And the third thing, this is what I noticed with the students. So my question is, do they even teach this in civil? We used to have a civics class. I don't even know if they teach civics anymore. And or your parents. I talk about life skills. Certain things parents have to teach their kids because the schools aren't doing it anymore. When there's a national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance, you put your right hand over your heart. Your left hand goes to the side of you, or you can hold it, you can bend it behind you like in a fist. During the Pledge of Allegiance, the same thing. Your right hand should be over your heart, and your left hand can be down by your side or on your back, like in a bit position. But you're standing there silently. You're quiet. That is not the time to whistle, to hoot, to holler, to do all the things that we've seen in these videos. And like I said, I witnessed it having gone to recent graduations. That is a solemn part of the service. And at one graduation, there was one man that was so loud, calling out names of, I guess, family members, people that were, friends with the family, and someone. And I'm in a big stadium, and I'm across the on the other side, and someone told this man to shush, and he said, "I'm sorry," really loud. So that's how loud he was, and I could hear him on the opposite side of the stadium. It was amazing. But that, I just wanted to bring awareness. I wanted to bring education for even adults. If you don't know that, that is a solemn part of any, if you go to a retirement or military is big on that. They always have a color guard. They have and even for sporting events. At sporting events, they usually do the national anthem and sometimes Pledge of Allegiance. Any event that you go to, that is a solemn part of the service. It's like prayer in church. That's the best analogy I can give. But you're supposed to stand there, whether you agree with what the words are, you stand there and you're quiet. It's showing respect for those that fought for this country, those that died for this country, those that died so that we can have the right to move about freely. So if nothing else, think about your family members that may have served, people that you know that were in the military. That's what you're doing during that part of any ceremony, but specifically graduations. And parents, teach that to your children. That is a life skill that kids should know, because they will go out into the world, go to sporting events, go to graduations, go to military events. You're supposed to put your hand over your heart, stand silently. Sometimes people bow their heads, sometimes you don't. But you're not talking, you're not whistling, you're not hooting, you're not hollering. That is a solemn part of the service. Hand over heart, your left arm, down by your side, or it's bended on your back. But that's not the time to call out names, screaming and yelling and doing all the craziness at any ceremony. That is very solemn, because you're paying respect for those who paid respect so that you can be free. So I just wanted to come from that perspective. There's enough videos out there about the ratchetness and the running and the arresting and all that stuff. Last thing, I don't want to make this video too long. For those organizations that plan graduation, sometimes it's a committee, sometimes it's the school board, or colleges, they have committees that do this. Get security. Get security, get law enforcement, maybe 3 layers of security. I went to several graduations that were held in the same location. It was a public venue. I was very impressed. There was tons of, this was for high school, resource officers, the police officers in the schools nowadays. And when I was in school, we didn't need police officers. So that just shows you where we, digressed, I know that's the word, digress. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We've gone down. We're not behaving the way we should, even in the schools. So the resource officers were there. The local law enforcement was there. They had security companies there. So they were at the ready. If anyone, this was so because they had several graduations lined up in one day. That's important because, and again, to parents, when you go to these graduations, understandably, again, I've been a graduate and I've been there for graduates. Everybody wants that same ability to hoot, holler, celebrate. These are, remember, ceremonies. These are solemn ceremonies to honor the hard work and the sacrifice. Celebrations are done at home. You're congratulating at the ceremony. Celebrations are done at home. If you want to run around, dance, and just really turn up at home, turn up at a place that you pay for, turn up, some place where you have the opportunity, when it's just you, that one person that you're honoring. But at a graduation ceremony, that's why it's called ceremony, not celebration. It's ceremony, that you have to be respectful. The security teams, the law enforcement, the resource, they're there. They've been given instructions. If anyone gets out of line, that you will be bounced from the venue. If you're standing up taking pictures, taking videos, you may be bounced or told to sit down. If you come in late, you can't expect to come to the front of the seating because you're late. You're disrupting other people. Learn protocol, learn decorum. If you're coming in late, you sit in the back, just like at church. Why should others be inconvenienced because you were late? Regardless of the reason that you were late, it doesn't matter to anyone but you. So when you're coming to a place that has already started an event or a ceremony, say to the back. You cannot come to the front and be disruptive, because you're disrupting other people that came there and they were there on time. crossing, going across 10 people to get to where you want to sit. That's very disruptive. And plus you're blocking the people that are trying to see. Maybe they're trying to take a picture of their loved one. So these are just things, again, no judgment. Education and training purposes only. Some people know these things, some people don't know these things, and it's sad that our students don't know about the Pledge of Allegiance, what you should do. When I was graduating from high school, when we did our rehearsals, they told us what to do. Again, you may not agree with what the Pledge of Allegiance, the words of the Pledge of Allegiance, but it's honoring those that have served. So just remember that. You may not agree with it, even you may not agree with military service, but again, we have the military for a reason. We have law enforcement for a reason. We have security for a reason, to protect you, to keep you safe. So remember that. So again, these are just some things, some takeaways, for education and training purposes only, some things that we have to remember when we're out in a public venue with thousands or hundreds of people. We cannot do what we would do if we're, paying for something that we're honoring one person, your family member. We all love our family. We all want to honor them. We all want to celebrate them, but these are ceremonies where we're giving congratulations. Okay, you set up a ceremony or a celebration at your home, your backyard, at a local venue. You can do whatever you want to do within reason, without damaging other people's property, because you have to pay for that. But at a graduation ceremony, there's behavior, there's expected behavior, and if you don't meet that criteria, then you may be bounced from that facility. You may be told to sit down. You may be given instructions. Please be open to instructions. The instructions are given for a reason. It's for the safety and protection of everyone. People that like to stand in the aisles and take pictures in these venues, they're really sharp bleachers, and many of you have been, the rails may be rickety. You put other people in danger when you do that. So when someone tells you please sit down, it's done for a reason. Don't get mad, don't get hostile. You can take pictures all day long once the ceremony is over. Again, it's a ceremony. Remember that. You will have many opportunities to do all these things that you want to do, but don't do it during the ceremony. Thank you.